Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'd like to get into my recently released Bob Seger playlist. If you are a Bob Seger enthusiast, I think you'll find some of the content of this to be right up your alley. A few notes to make about it from a guitar playing aspect. Bob Seger's music is perfect for someone that's looking for some strumming. If you're looking to improve your strumming and your chord changes, this is almost the perfect artist for that. His music's not terribly difficult to play. Very seldom does it employ any kind of fingerstyle work. And if there are guitar hooks or leads, they're minimal. So let's get right into the list. We've got You'll Accompany Me, Night Moves, of course, Seger's flagship number. Still the same, Fire Lake, Main Street. These are tunes that are already in the playlist. Obviously, we're going to be adding to this, but I'd like to talk a little bit about what to expect from a guitar playing standpoint. I think You'll Accompany Me is probably the easiest one on the list to get down, and it's certainly the one that has the highest views of all my Seger stuff, so people have done remarkably well with that tune. Night Moves is, you'll find two different versions of Night Moves on the playlist. There's the capoed version. Now, if you're interested in playing along with the actual recorded version of Bob Seger's Night Moves, you are going to have to capo it. Otherwise, it will not be correct pitch. When I covered this song out, and I played this one in various acts that I was in when I was still playing, I didn't use the capo because it was easier to sing, obviously, without the capo. It brought the pitch down a little bit. So that was a little bit easier on my voice. So you may want to do that version. But it's clearly marked. Night Moves with the capo on the first fret. Night Moves arrangement without the capo. A couple of the videos, I think one of them, maybe a second one, the sound will cut out briefly. That's because I'm singing the melody and it got copyright flagged. Just sit tight. It's only a couple seconds. I don't think you'll have any problems with that. It's only a few seconds. As we move through the rest of it, Night Moves does have a couple little licks in it, little hitches that you're doing off that G chord. Again, I don't think that'll give you any problems if you're comfortable with your open chords and your open chord changes. As we get into Still the Same, more of the same. Just a straight ahead strumming song. If you're looking to bone up on that strumming and get those chord changes seamless and faster, that's a great song to do it. Fire Lake is another strummity strum and has a couple breaks in it, but again, no problems there. Now, the one on the list that if you wanted to get into a little bit of lead work, if you wanted to get into playing some guitar hooks and then breaking back into strumming and then back into the hook, Main Street off of Night Moves. That tune opens up with a lick. That's kind of the hook and the glue of the whole song. That lick is played frequently in the tune, and then he breaks out of the lick, back in the strumming, back into the lick. So shouldn't be an issue for you. It's a lead guitar part, but if you have an acoustic guitar with a cutaway, no problems there. And as for adding to the list, that's where you guys come in. If there's any tunes that you'd like to see on the playlist, see tabbed out, see a tutorial for, obviously just comment, let me know. It's always important for me to find out what people are actually interested in, and rather than putting a tutorial up that I don't really have a whole lot of interest in. So if there are Seger tunes that you'd like to see on the playlist, something I've missed, I'd certainly love to hear from you. Simply comment. I know that Turn the Page is one that I should be putting up. I'm working on an arrangement to that right now. So chime in. Let me know what you guys are thinking on the Seger. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks to all the members and the subscribers. You guys have been super supportive, and I appreciate that. Think about that. If you're not a member yet, think about that silver membership. That'll get you access to the silver library, which are all my tablatures, all my chord charts, based on what I'm hearing. So it's not anything that I'm pulling off the internet and putting up. This is all tabs and chord charts based on my tutorials and my transcriptions, as I'm hearing it. And I often talk to you guys during my tutorials and let you know, hey, look, I can only tell you what I'm hearing. When I hear it, and that's what is coming into my ear. That's how I'm doing the transcription and the licks and the chords. So I understand that Bob's finished touring. I think we all got the news of that a couple of years back. He did his farewell bit. For a guy like Seger, it feels like he's not one of those dudes that's going to keep coming back, farewell number 3. And I know that he had everything in his last tour. He had tuned down everything. So, and I'm not slagging on the guy. I mean, he sang his guts out for 50 years. So, but, being a tenor, you don't age well, man. you just have a hard time hitting those notes. I couldn't hit the stuff Seger was doing, even being a little bit younger than him. So, hats off to him for a phenomenal career. A consummate professional guy that lived in the trenches in Michigan, and before he broke out. So I'm happy to do his music, and I've learned a lot from Bob as a guitar player and as a vocalist. So I am a huge fan. Just another tidbit here, though, guys. I have this awesome a Seger quote that I always share with my students when it comes to songwriting. And this came up in actually the Eagles Behind the Music, and Glenn Frey was being interviewed. Now, I didn't know this, but Glenn was a guy from Michigan, and I guess he was kind of a fanboy of sorts when Seger was making his rounds in Michigan. He was doing the Bob Seger system, so apparently he had this huge regional following before he broke out with Capitol. I think he got his deal with, but at any rate, Glenn Frey tells this great story. He said during this Eagles documentary, he said he was talking about his background. He said, "Yeah, I came up in Michigan, and I knew Bob Seger, and he was a mentor of mine, and apparently he would be backstage with Bob at these clubs, and he had a band together. Glenn Frey had a band together at the time." In Michigan, but he'd go see Bob, and he'd be backstage with Bob and before and after the show, and Seger was always encouraging him, like, Glenn, you gotta get out there, you gotta start doing your own stuff. I guess he was doing a lot of cover tunes in the band. Glenn Frey was in the band he was in Michigan, so he was doing a ton of cover tunes, and Bob was kind of encouraging him to, hey, you got to do your own stuff, you got to do your own songs, and was kind of really getting on his case about not doing enough originals, and Glenn said to Bob, he goes, well, yeah, he goes, I could, but what if I do originals, and what if they're bad? And Seger goes, oh, they're gonna be, which I thought was really funny, and true. And isn't that the case? It's the reason why it's funny. It's because it's true. But anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Bob Seger. If you're interested in setting up lessons in person here in Central PA, my studio, or remote, Skype or FaceTime, reach out, text 717-468-0795.